Sometimes when you color correct your photographs with curves or levels, it will require one step. In other situations, you may need to make other adjustments in order to correct certain areas in your photograph. And this is a photograph that we'll work on which will require two steps. This is a picture of one of my good friends with his 3 daughters. I love how he's just surrounded by all of his kids here. So here, let's go ahead and click on the Curves Adjustment Layer icon to create a new layer. Then we'll click on our mid-tone eyedropper, and in this case, I'm going to click on the garment here, the shoulder of the garment of this little one here. And when we do that, we can see the color correction. Here's the before, here's the after. It's pretty subtle, but it just warms the image up a bit and makes it a bit more inviting. Yet next, what I want to do is work on the shirt. If we were to use our eyedropper and click on the shirt, what would happen is it would just be over the top. So I need to undo that. To undo that, press Command-Z on a Mac or Control-Z on Windows. Notice that this shirt has some blue tint in it. Now that could be a result of the color of the fabric, or it could also be because it's in a bit more of a shadow area. Well, either way, what I want to do is color correct that area of the image so that we don't have any blue in that part of the photograph. One way that you can do that is by using hue saturation. Here I'll click on the hue saturation icon in order to open up a hue saturation adjustment layer. Next, we have a targeted adjustment tool. If you click on that, you can position your cursor over the image and click. That will then target those specific tones. Here you can see it's the blues. When I click and drag the saturation slider to the right, I can increase the blues, or I can also remove the color from that area as well. Now, the problem with this, of course, is that it will remove the blue from the shirt, but also from other areas in the picture, and I just want this to be affecting the shirt. Well, what we need to do in order to limit this adjustment to the shirt is to work on our mask. If you navigate to the mask panel by clicking on this icon right here, you'll notice that you have a button which is called Color Range. Click on that button, and it will open up the Color Range dialog. Here, what you can do is you can click on different areas of your photograph in order to start to build up a mask. If we click on the shirt, you can see that it's showing me an area which is white and the rest of the image which is black. The white area is the area which would be affected. Well, this is currently a really small area. I need to add to that, so we'll use the eyedropper with the plus icon next to it and just click and drag around the area of the photograph that we want to modify. Now, as we do that, we can control the range. If we increase the range, it will affect areas far away from where we clicked. As we decrease it, it will make sure that the only area that's affected is close to the area that you're clicking. So here I'll go ahead and click around the photograph, decrease the range just a touch, increase the fuzziness in order to soften that selection, also to select more areas, or decrease that as well, depending upon what you want to do. Next, we'll go ahead and click OK. Well, after having done that, we now have an adjustment which primarily affects that part of our photograph, and we've color corrected this area. We've removed that color shift. And sometimes what I find is helpful when you're working on color in this way is to work on the mask and is to add just a little bit of a feather. What that can do is soften out the edges, and that in turn can help to have an effect which is a bit more realistic. After we've dialed in the mask here, created the mask using color range, I like to go back to the hue saturation adjustment and then go back to the area that I'm working on, in this case the blues. Well, now that I've really limited this adjustment to these areas here, in a sense it's just this shirt and a little bit of his daughter's shirt there in the background, I can then pull out a bit more color so that that looks good. You can also control the brightness of this area. Might be nice to change the overall brightness just a touch. I'll darken it up just a little bit. So now we have a little bit more of a gray tone on the shirt, or a darker gray, I should say. And if we click on the eye icon, we can see there's the before, and then now here's the after. Let me zoom in even closer so you can see that a bit better. Again, that before, and then now the after. And if we look at our overall before and after, what we'll see is the original image, and then the image after we've taken 2 steps in order to color correct the photograph. Keep in mind as well that we started off with curves or levels, and we did an adjustment which color corrected the image, and then we targeted or focused in on a specific area. And this is often what you'll need to do as you get to more advanced color correction. Here in this example, we worked on a t-shirt. In other images, you may need to work on different areas of your photograph. Either way, this technique starts to highlight how you can begin to use multiple adjustments in order to improve the color in your photographs.